Yo, I hope everyone's having a blessed day so far. I know I am. And low key, I just want to hop straight into it. So, today, I'm talking about the importance of crucifying your flesh because you want to and not because you have to. Like, yes, obviously, we know crucifying our flesh is an important part in this walk of Christ, but when you can't just crucify your flesh because someone's telling you to crucify your flesh. You have to crucify it because you really want to. We can't say we're truly followers of Christ and we're just crucifying our flesh because someone tells us, hey, crucify your flesh. It don't work like that. We got to truly have that want in ourselves to crucify our flesh for Christ. Because some people they can get it twisted and they can do it for the wrong intentions. They'll crucify their flesh, which is it's a good thing and all, but they'll do it for the wrong reasons. For example, somebody might crucify their flesh and follow Christ because of the things that they can gain, because they only see the blessings in it, and that's the wrong intention. Following Christ is good, but when you follow him for the intentions of personal gain, then that's when it becomes, evil, basically. So it's not really the what you're doing, but it's the why you're doing it. Because we can crucify our flesh all we want if someone's telling us, but if we don't truly have that want to crucify our flesh, then we can never truly call ourselves followers of Christ. And right here in Matthew 16:24, it says it straight. It says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.'" See, what stood out to me is it says, "If anyone desires to come after me," he's not saying, notice it didn't say, "If anyone desires to come after me for the blessings I'll give him." He doesn't say, "If anyone desires to come after me because of the favor I'll give him." He says, "If anyone desires to come after me," and he stops right there. People can follow Christ for all the wrong reasons. They can follow him for personal gain, for the blessings and all that. But you have to follow Christ for Jesus himself. You have to follow Jesus for Jesus and nothing more and nothing less. People, we get it twisted thinking that if I follow Christ and crucify my flesh, I'll receive all these good things. But you're not following him for the right reasons. You're following him for the motives of your flesh. Believe it or not, that's kind of ironic, but that's the truth. And you know, you can't stress it enough because and some people they do it out of ignorance, like not knowing that they're following Christ for the wrong reasons. So make we have to make this clear to those people the more, because we can't have those people living life the wrong way, thinking they're living it the right way. We have to tell them, so then once they know the true way, then they can live that way. And it's just crazy. Some people, you know they pray and talk to God, asking him for all these things. And don't get me wrong, prayer is good, but it's it's the intent of why you're praying. You can pray to God to you know for all this favor and these blessings and all these open doors. Don't get me wrong, those things are good, but if you're doing it, if you're praying, if you're talking to God just to obtain those things, then it's not going to work out. You need to be talking to God because you love him enough. The blessing shouldn't matter to you whether you get it or whether you don't get it. You should just want to be a follower of Christ just for Christ and because what he did for you, and that should be enough. The blessing will come in due time, and the blessing is good, but it's not better than Jesus himself. Jesus himself is the blessing, and he gives blessings. So we have to follow the blessing. We can't get distracted by the blessings. We have to follow the blessing, which is Jesus Christ. And too many people, they like just get it twisted. And I know, and I can't even speak from personal experience. I've definitely had moments where I prayed and talked to God and followed God because of, internal and personal motives, not because I actually desired to know God, but because I desired the things that he could give me. And and it really had to be set straight. You know, I can't follow Jesus because of what he'll give me. I have to follow Jesus for Jesus, nothing more and nothing less. So yeah, and then I have another verse that I want to share. If you go to Galatians 5:24, it says, "And those who are Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires." See, to belong to Christ, you have to live for him, and not for what he can give you. You can't you can't say I belong to Christ, you know, but you're living for him for all the wrong reasons. See, there's a right there's a right way and a wrong way to literally everything. So there's a right way and a wrong way to follow Christ. The wrong way to follow Christ is doing it for personal gain and for blessing and for favor and nothing else. But the right way to follow Christ is to follow him for who he is and what he's done for you, and that's enough. The blessing is supplement, not sustenance. Jesus is sustenance, and the blessing is supplement. You can't live off of supplements. You live off of the sustenance which Jesus provides you. So you can't follow Jesus to only expect to receive all these good things from him if your intentions are evil. So again, it's not what you're doing, it's why you're doing it. And if your intentions are wrong, then you're never really going to experience the benefits of following Jesus, because the people who belong to Christ, they're not following him because of the things he can give them. Yes, the things he gives them are good, but they're following Jesus because of him, and they don't care whether they get the blessing or not. They're going to follow him because of what he did on Calvary is enough, and that should be it. We get so caught up on wanting to receive the blessing to where we take our eyes off of what truly matters. And therefore, if we do receive that blessing, we then get, we slack off and we start, we don't follow Jesus as hard as we once did, because we feel like, hey, I got this blessing, you know, I don't got to depend on God no more. I can be independent, when that can't be further from the truth. Receiving the blessing, you can receive it and, be thankful for it, but then, put it to the side and, put your focus back on Jesus, because that's the only thing that matters. So at the end of the day, it's not what you do. Again, it's why you do it. And in order to do things in the right intentions, you have to follow Christ, because he is enough. And that's really all I wanted to come on here and share, just the importance of following Jesus because you want to and not because you have to. So once again, I hope y'all have a blessed day. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all when I talk to y'all. Peace.